Hi, my name is Christine G, and I am going to be going over this problem. It is Mod 6, and it's actually number 9, and it's 4.2.24-T. So we have the accompanying data represent the number of days absent, which is X, and the final exam score Y for a sample of college students in a gen ed course at a large state university, and it asks us to complete the problem. So the data and information is in here, and first thing it does is it asks us to find the least squares regression line, treating number of absences as X, or the explanatory variable, and the final exam score is the response variable. So here I'm going to open up this information up in StatCrunch. Click on this little square, and then it's asking me to find the least squares regression. So I'm going to do that through the stat on the menu bar when it pops up. There we go. So stat and then regression, and then this is going to be a simple linear one. And then our X variable is the number of absences, and then the Y variable is the final exam score. And that makes sense because the number of times you're absent, if you're absent quite a bit, then your final exam score isn't going to, it's going to impact your final exam score. So now we're going to compute this, and then we get the information for the least squares regression line. So here it is, and this is the slope. So as absences increases, the amount of the score decreases. So if you have 0 absences, your score is, this is telling us your predicted score is going to be around 88.93%. And as your absences go up, then your score would go down. So typically, and that's the prediction model. So here I inputted these numbers in, and be very careful. The slope is being multiplied by the number of absences, which is the X variable. So you want to make sure you have that in there, negative 2.765X. It's not in order. This is not being multiplied by anything, and that is our y-intercept. So you want that by itself. Okay, and then the next problem, interpret the slope and the y-intercept if appropriate. Choose the correct answer below and fill in an answer box in your choice. So so we can just look at the least squares regression line, and for every additional absence, a student's final exam score drops 2.765 points on average, and that's true. It is not appropriate to interpret the y-intercept. That's not true. So the average final exam score of students who miss no classes is, and then that would be like 88.93. It is not appropriate to interpret the slope. That's not true. So here, for every additional absence, a student's final exam score drops 2.765 points on average. Because it says drops, I didn't put the negative sign in there, but that's telling us it's going down. And then the average final exam score of a student who misses no classes is 88.935. And I can, if you're not sure, you just put in 0 for X, because that's the number of absences, and 0 times negative 2.765, of course, is 0. And then 0 plus 88.935 is 88.935. So that looks good. And then we're asked to predict the final exam score for a student who misses 5 class periods. So in order to do that, let me see if I can we have this equation, and we're going to substitute 5 in for X, for the number of absences. So we have y hat, so y equals, and then negative 2.765 times 5 for the number of absences, and then plus 88.935. Okay, let me see if I can make this bigger so we can see what I'm doing. Okay, so all I did was in the equation input 5 for the number of absences. Then I simplify this. So I first take my negative 2.765. I need to start wearing my glasses. Times 5. And then I come up with y equals 13.825. Oh, and this is, my bad here, this is negative. And then here I have plus 88.935. Now, when I simplify this, so I'm just going to combine these. 0.95. So negative 13.825 plus 88.935. And I'm coming up with the predicted value is 75.11. Okay, so what this is telling us is if a student is absent 5 times, we're predicting that the score, based on this least squares regression line, that the score would be around 75% for the final exam. So now it's asking us to compute the residual. Well, what does that mean? Well, here they're not that clear on it because they didn't say but it's part of C, so they mean for 5 absences. So what we can do here is just look at our data, and we see for 5 absences, the actual is 74.4%. So we just take 74.4 minus 75.11. And then we should get, let me do that in my calculator, but it's like we should get the number that's there on the screen, 75.11. Yes, and I'm getting negative 0.71. So that looks good. And that checked out. And then is the final exam score above or below average for the number of absences? So it was below because it was 74.4%. So that is it. So feel free to contact me anytime you have questions, and thanks so much for watching.